Nicola, when you started out, how long did it take you to get comfortable in the markets?
Ooh, it's a great question. I was thinking I was comfortable after 6 months, but at the end of the day, after a year, I almost blew up my account, and then I needed one more year to recover. So let's say 2 years to be comfortable to live from trading.
So what was the trade that nearly blew up your account? What happened there?
Oh,
Do you remember?
I think it's gold. I can't remember when.
Yeah.
Can't remember, like it was a long time ago. It was gold. I oversized and then I panicked, and then I figured out, okay, I fucked up. It was some sort of I think it was NFP or something like that, and back then I didn't know what NFP really mean.
Right.
And you remember, like 10,
Yeah, I remember
like
those
12.
days. NFTs were
Yeah, like
massive.
every news was moving the market
Right,
really great, not like today, like you have the NFP market is not moving.
right,
Everything is dead.
right, right, right. So
But it
you
took me a
you
while.
oversized, and then when you realized you oversized and you were big, did you just cover
I
your big
didn't see it first. That was the mistake, that I didn't see that I really oversized until the news happened, because I was focusing on like seeing the news, if news is good or bad, and I didn't
Right.
know back then like how to read the news. But I was
Yeah.
watching if it is it green
Right.
or red.
Right. Hey, Petar, have you ever had a situation where you um you hit a trade and you didn't realize that you did, let's say, 10 times the normal size, and you're like, hey, how come my P&L is going up like by 10 times the normal amount, and then by the time you figure it out, you're like down 5 or 10. You ever have that happen to
Yeah,
you?
yeah, it happened to me as well on both sides, on negative and on positive.
Yeah,
I
like positive,
did
it's
by
nice, but the
mistake.
negative really hurts. Yeah.
Yeah, negative, actually, that was my first year. Yeah, and I destroyed my account. I remember it was
Yeah,
like
and
yesterday.
that was just a mistake, right? It was basically what we call a fat finger mistake. It wasn't, you didn't mean to do that big a size. It just
Yeah, I didn't mean basically, but I saw the margin call like few hours later. That was my
Right.
first year, like 13 years ago.
Right.
But I also did for the positive side a few years ago. It was I put 1 0 more on the lot size actually, and then, I realized that something is happening. I see different numbers. It shouldn't be like that. So I immediately, decreased that and I scaled basically to the proper size, but I took the
You
profit.
scale that good. Well, you were up. Oh, this is interesting. So most traders, when they have like a huge win off of a size 10 times larger than they mean, the instinctual thing is just to close everything out, because you're like, oh, I made all this money, close this out. It's interesting that you had the presence of mind to realize, oh, so I made this a lucky profit, but I'm actually on the right side of the trade, and this trade is working, so I should maintain the trade and keep it going. That's a very mature, trading approach. I think it's very, only after you've been in the markets for a while do you have the kind of discipline to, in the middle of a surprising event, to still maintain your position.
Yeah, and that's very important, because being
like,
cold.
I'm 10 times up, I'm going to blow it all out. Which is, I've done that a few times. I don't have that kind of presence of mind, but that's very, very interesting. What about you, Nicola? Any like upside surprises that ever happened to you like that?
Yeah, it was that Swiss franc crash.
Oh, you were short?
Yeah, I was short. I back then had a small signal service, and I said, people, guys, I'm shorting. It was a bearish setup. I didn't expect that big move, but we were bearish. And then I step out to walk my dog. I returned. Everyone is calling me. I lost everything. And I'm looking at my account. Fuck, I'm not sure what to do. Broker don't want to close the trade. And I end up like making, I believe, like 15K from that trade.
Yeah. It's funny because so that was actually also one of my greatest. It was literally my greatest lucky call. A week before that, I was on CNBC, And I was like, I really think the Swiss bank is going to have to move off the peg. I don't know when, but it would be. I think it's very, very dangerous to stay long Euro Swiss. I think this is in the, because at that time we're still following FX, and I was like, I think this is a very dangerous position to be in. I think people should be really wary of being long Euro Swiss. I think it could collapse. And that was like 1 week before the collapse. And of course, the day of the collapse, they called me in, and I was short the position. And same as you, nobody was willing to close it. Like I think it was trading. It went like 120. It went to 95 bid. Nobody would cover you at 95. Eventually, they covered me at 105. End of the day. Like it was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I was, I went to the studio, came back. It was still not covering. End of the day, they finally had to relent, cover you at 105. But it was like, I was trading 90, 95 at that point. That was a crazy trade. I remember that trade.